What is this? What is the present perfect? What does that mean? How do you use it? So the present perfect, we use this to express an action or something that existed at some time in the past, something that happened in the past. Normally, when we talk about things that happened yesterday or any time in the past, we use something that is called the simple past. For example, yesterday I watched a movie. I cleaned my house. I started a new job. That is the simple past. We usually use the simple past to talk about things that we did in the past and are finished. But this thing, when we use this tense here, we use it to talk about something we did in the past, but we don't say when. No decimos cuándo. And when we use this, we always have to use the word have or has and the action word, the verb. So for example, if we say Sal has drunk his juice already, we don't know when Sal drank the juice. Maybe he drank it 5 minutes ago. Maybe he drank it yesterday. We don't know. So let's take a look at some more examples here. The present perfect can also talk about something that started in the past and is still happening now. We use this in Spanish. Si algo que empezó en el pasado y aún está sucediendo. For example, John has played basketball all year. That means he started in the past and right now, Isabel is coming. He is still playing basketball. So in Spanish, it would be something like, Joshua ha jugado baloncesto todo el año. We know he began in the past and he is still doing it now. The day that Joshua stops playing basketball, we would say Joshua played basketball, and that means he doesn't do it anymore. It's finished action. Hello, Isabel. Welcome to class. Nice to have you here.
Hi, teacher.
Hey. So here we were talking about the present perfect, Isa. I'm just giving some examples. So the action of playing basketball began in the past, is still going on today, as we see in the sentence, Joshua has played basketball all year. So let's take a look at these words here. If I had to use the present perfect in a sentence, I would say they have just gotten married. For example, they have just got married or they have just gotten married. Both are correct. So I'm going to show you something, as you can see there from the sentence. So check this out here. When you are learning English, right? When you are learning English, let's see, take a look at one here. Maybe this one. When we are learning English, you always think about the action word and how do you say it in the past? Normally, when we say an action word in the past, we add D or ED, D or ED, or IED. But for this tense here, we are going to use this one. Let me show you here. Maybe I am older than you guys, so you don't remember this, but when people used to learn English, they would take like a photocopy of the verbs and then you have to memorize them, right? Well, think about the irregular verbs, los verbos irregulares, los que no se le agrega de o ed, like played, watched, aunque terminan ed, mire que tiene esa pronunciación de t, watched. When we don't add the D or the ED, we call it irregular. A esos que no se le ponen D o ED y cambian totalmente. Por eso son irregulares. For example, the word, let's take a very popular one. For example, I don't know, bring. Bring is the verb in the present. In the past, we say brought. Look, brought, no le agregamos de o ed, we say brought. And the past participle is brought. So when we're using this tense of the present perfect, we're always going to use these verbs, esos like de la tercera columna. Another very popular one, for example, is the verb go, right? So let me find here on this list of verb go. or get. Here we go. That's a very popular one. Get in the present. In the past, we say got. I got sick yesterday. I got a new job. But in the past participle, we can say gotten. You can also say got, pero note que no se agrega debo de. Siempre vamos a utilizar esos terceros. Seen, taken, gotten, given. These third ones from the third column, all right? Those are the ones we're always going to use when we're using this present perfect. All right. For this tense, guys, for this tense, when we use I, you, we, y they, we are going to use have. I have, you have, they have, we have. But if we use he, she, or it, even if it's a positive sentence or a negative sentence, we're going to use has. Has. Let's take a look at the sentence here. So how would we say this in the present perfect? We would say they have just seen a ghost. Ese just, it significa como hace poco tiempo, como justo ahora in Spanish, right? All right, let's take a look at this one. Danny, take a look at this sentence here. Here we're going to use she because it's a woman. And remember with she, what do we use? What do we say? Do you remember? Have or has. And then...
She has just a shower.
Okay, very good. Now, here we have. Now, like I said before, we always have to use have or has. But in this case, here, let me show you on a new document here. So we use have or has for he, she, it, but make this white here. So it says she have a shower, but we're missing something. We should say she has just had a shower. ¿Y por qué? Porque este have or has que utilizamos aquí, que sería en español como e o a, she has just had a shower, ella apenas ahora o justo ahora se ha bañado, ese a o e, I'll give you another example. As él ha terminado su trabajo, este has sería como el a o e. So this here is the auxiliary and this had is the verb que viene de have. Yo sé que suena muy raro uno ver el has y después el had, pero hay que acordarnos que uno es el auxiliar y el otro es como la acción, como e o a en español. So, all right, so you said, Danny, she has just, and you have to say here the have, change it. She has just had a shower. She has just had a shower. Nos acordamos que también have es un verbo irregular y en el participio pasado usamos had. She has just had a shower. Okay, Danny, thank you so much. Isa, why don't you try this one here? How would we say this sentence with the present perfect? You want to try, Isa?
I have just shopping.
Okay, I have just shopping. We're missing something. So it's just like this, just be in shopping. Let's do the sentence with you. You say, I have just, and this be, we have to change it. We have to change it to this tense that we're talking about here, which is this one here. And the past participle of be is been. So we have to say, I have just been shopping. Or if we're going to talk about the woman, for the woman, we can say, she has just been shopping. Like this. She has just been shopping. All right, Isa, thank you so much. Danny, you want to try this one, please? With he. Do it with he. Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, teacher. Just give me 1 second.
Sure, take your time. Take your time. If you're not sure, maybe you have a question, I'll be happy to
Yes,
help you.
I'm not sure
Okay.
because it's so confused. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. No worries. Here, let's take a look at it together. Let's take a look at it together. You know what? I'm going to put here like the structure. So I'm going to put here the subject, and then we're going to use have or has, and then the verb, and then the complement. So let's do some together. So I'm going to say Daniela has just eaten dinner. So let's take a look at that. The subject here is Daniela. And then we have or has. We have to use one or the other. We use have when we talk about we, they, you, or I. When the subject is I, you, we, or they, we use have. When the subject is he or she or it, we use has. So here we talk about Daniela. Daniela is like saying she. So we would say Daniela has, right? And so this here is going to be like, I would say the auxiliary. Let's say the auxiliary. The auxiliary. So here we have the auxiliary. Daniela has just, this is a complementary word, no problem. But then we have the verb, the action word. What is the action word in this sentence? Eaten. Eaten. So that's going to be the verb there. And then we have the complement. The complement can be anything. Yesterday, last week, lately, I don't know. It could be anything. So this is the complement here.
Teacher, question.
Sure.
This option. I'm sorry, I'm running right now.
No problem. Multitasking. I like it, Danny. Multitasking. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, in this option is when I need to say something continue.
Oh, okay. That's a good question. So when do we use this? When do we use this test? We use this test to talk. We use this to talk about something or an action that happened in the past with no definite time. So, for example, you say, teacher, the movie Adventures, wasn't that movie fantastic? And I say, I have seen that movie. It's okay. So now I told you I saw the movie, but I didn't tell you when. No definite time. That is one way to use it. The other use of this tense, we also use this to talk about. Another use is to talk about an action that started in the past and is still happening now. So like what? For example, I can say, I have been a teacher for many years. So we use it for these two things, to talk about something that happened in the past, but we're not specific about when. For example, we use it in Spanish too. Yo he visitado muchos lugares, but you didn't say when. Ellos han probado esa bebida, but you don't say when. And also we use it to talk about something that happened in the, or started in the past and is still happening now. Algo que empezó en el pasado y todavía está sucediendo. For example, I have been a teacher for many years. Todavía soy profe. El día que me retire, ya no puedo usar esto. Ya usaría el pasado simple. Ya diría, I was a teacher for many years. Finished action. But here, for something that happened in the past and still happening now, we can use this. For example, you say, yo me he leído muchos libros. I have read many books. That means you started reading in the past and you're still reading now, and you're going to continue maybe reading in the future. So we use it to talk about these two things. So for example, in this sentence here, we can say he has just participated in a race, but we don't know if it was 5 minutes ago or a month ago. We're not sure. So we use this in Spanish too. And in Spanish, when we use this have or has, que utilizamos aquí, auxiliar, en español sería como o han. Yo he, ellos han, etc. All right, let's try. So you want to try one, Danny? Let's try one. Let's try this one here.
Okay, so
And let's talk about they because it's two people.
So they have painted
Yes.
just their house.
They have just painted their house. They have now. It's not necessary to use just. Yo lo metí ahí, pero no es necesario. You could say they.
Okay, and just is not mandatory.
No, it's not mandatory. We could say they have painted their house. That's it.
Okay,
Ellos han pintado su casa. We don't know when, but they did it. They did it. They have just painted their house. There you go. All right, Dan, you're getting the idea. Isa, want to try this one? I see we have two trucks, and they got into an accident. What would we say? Isa, can you hear me? All right, I'm going to do this one for Isa. So this one would say, they have just had an accident. They have just had an accident. That would be this one here. Let's go to another one. Danny, you want to try this one?
Sure. Okay, so he has played a football match.
That's it. He has played a football match.
Gotcha. Okay, so here is common to listen something like I just got here.
I just got here, exactly.
Oh my God, yo al principio decía, ¿qué estás diciendo? No entiendo. Pero es muy común, so ahora lo entiendo.
Yeah, I just got here. Exactly. Yeah.
So, uno se aprende cosas como porque así se dicen.
Yeah, it's like, it's just part of the culture. That's just it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the culture, yeah.
So ahora entiendo más como el por qué.
Exactly.
Cómo formular como una respuesta yo misma.
Yeah, and we have a lot there. Also, Danny, is that we have a lot of verbs, like action words that have 2 words or more. Like, for example, sit down. Sit down is a very common phrasal verb, but we have so many in English. For example, you say, hey, what time does the movie start? And you say, I don't know. Somebody says, look it up. Look it up. If you translate it, you say, look it up. What do you mean, look it up? What is it? But that means, investigate it, look it up. So there's a lot of things that, for example, those vocabulary words of 2 or 3 words, look it up is 3 words, but it really means one thing. It's a phrase that means one thing. It means to investigate. So there's a lot of things like that. And English has many thousands of words more than Spanish. I think Spanish is more difficult because it has more grammatical tenses. For example, in Spanish is ir, fue, fuimos, fueron, fuiste. There's so many ways you can change the verb, conjugate. In English, there's less. But in English, there's so much